Solar loadouts are by far some of the best builds you can put together this season, and this one is for you Titans. I previously made what I think are some of the best solar builds for the Warlock and Hunter, and this build is going to be on the same level of those. And even with Strand Titan being the best all-around subclass on Titan, if not in the entire game, you can still get a lot out of Solar Titan, especially paired with the artifact this season. This build is a ton of fun. You're going to have insane ad clear, crazy super damage, and nothing is ever going to be able to kill you. It also takes advantage of some things that I don't see used quite often, and it is a blast to play. Really quick, I do want to say thank y'all so much for all the continued support on the channel. I went through and was trying to respond to a bunch of comments the other night, and just seeing all the positive ones really meant the world to me. And just know that I appreciate each and every single one of you. I really hope y'all have been enjoying the videos and shorts I've been posting, and there is definitely a lot more to come. But alright, jump right into it. Let's first start off taking a look at our exotic, the Pyrogale Gauntlets. This is going to have the exotic perk Percussive Flames. Modifies Burn 'em All into a single high damage slam of your hammer that creates several cyclones of flame. Consecration's second slam creates a cyclone of flame. So essentially the easiest way to think about this is the fact that it will turn your Burn 'em All into Celestial Nighthawk. You're now going to get a single slam that does a bunch of damage, and this is going to pair extremely well with some of our artifact perks. On top of that, it will spawn those cyclones that can do additional damage, which is very, very nice. And on top of the super damage, it also does have the benefit of making Consecration be able to create a cyclone of flame. We actually are going to be taking advantage of Consecration with this build, and you're going to be able to act clear and just ignite enemies everywhere. There's going to be so much Scorch and Ignitions just going off this exotic alone, and it is a ton of fun to take advantage of. But alright, let's jump over to our subclass, and like I said, we are going to be taking advantage of Consecration. So this reads, while sliding, activate your charged melee ability to launch a wave of solar energy for damaging and scorching targets in front of you as you leap into the air. While airborne, activate your charged melee again to slam to the ground and create a second larger wave of damaging solar energy. If the wave hits a scorched target, they ignite. So that was a lot, but essentially the way this is going to work, now when you slide, press your melee ability, you will leap up into the air, scorch all the enemies in front of you, and then if you hit your melee ability again, you will fall back down to the ground, and then that second wave will actually ignite all of those scorched enemies that you hit previously, and you will be able to act clear like crazy. On top of that, again with your exotic, you will make a cyclone of flame after that, which can go on to do further damage to a single target or even act clear because it will roam around. Consecration is very fun this season, especially paired in with the Pyrogale Gauntlets, and you're going to be able to spam these a lot once we get further into the build. But alright, next up we're going to be running Soul Invictus. So solar ability found on blows, Hammer of Soul impacts, and defeating scorched targets create sunspots. Your abilities regenerate faster and your super drains more slowly while standing in the sunspot. Sunspots apply scorch and deal damage to targets inside. Entering a sunspot applies restoration. So once again, another aspect that has a lot going on for it, but a lot of it, like the increased super duration, is pretty much pointless since we're going to use a one and done super anyway. But being able to make the sunspots on scorch kills or ability found on blow kills is going to be very strong because we're going to be able to have scorch everywhere. When you walk into a sunspot, you will also be granted restoration, which is going to play an extremely strong part in this build with your survivability. And sunspots also do have the benefit of just doing extra damage, and with the cyclone that your Consecration can make, you could just have little fire spots all around the map. And then the added benefit of all that is the fact that if you are in a sunspot, you will regenerate your abilities much faster, which just means more Consecration slams and more grenades if you need them. Now the grenade I would recommend running is Healing Grenade. You can absolutely take any other grenades you want to, since sunspots already do apply restoration and heal you, but just in a sticky situation, you can just throw this on the ground to heal you. You don't really need any act clear grenade because your Consecration is going to have you covered. Now I would also highly recommend Throwing Hammer over Hammer Strike. Throwing Hammer did get a nerf, but you can still have an infinite melee ability if you throw the hammer and pick it up. This will be extremely nice paired with some artifact perks. And then for your barricade, either will work. I do like taking Rally Barricade because I do like to play into mods that are based on casting my class ability, but if you want more survivability, you could put a Towering Barricade on because we're going to be able to spam these all the time anyway with our fragments. And the first fragment is going to be just about that, and that is Ember of Singeing. So your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. So and now every single time you have a target scorch, even if that scorched target dies, you're going to get some absurdly fast class ability regeneration. With the amount of ways that you are going to be able to scorch with this build, from your Consecration to your sunspots, and even once we get into the artifact, you're going to be able to have this proc pretty much at all times, which just means you can again spam your class ability all the time. And now our next fragment is going to be Ember of Empyrean. So solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you. This is extremely nice because, again, your Soul Invictus can apply restoration. That means if you get a kill while you're in sunspots, you can actually extend that restoration and you can take it out of a sunspot. Now, again, Healing Grenade also will work in the exact same way. So Ember of Empyrean is very, very strong, and we will also be taking advantage of Radiant with this. Again, we just have to wait to the artifact. It plays a very, very crucial part into this build. And next up, I do like to take Ember of Ashes, so you apply more Scorch stacks to targets. This one's very simple. Just every single bit of Scorch damage that you are doing, you can apply more Scorch stacks, which just means more damage, and it can lead to faster ignites. If you want to swap this out for pretty much anything else, you could, but I do recommend taking this because pretty much everything in your build will be able to Scorch, which just will help out the overall aspect of it. And now next up is Ember of Searing. So defeating Scorch targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite. So this is very nice because obviously you want to have your melee energy to proc Consecration. And then with Consecration, you can slide, activate it, Scorch all the enemies. Then that means once you kill the Scorched enemies, you will get your melee energy back because of Ember of Searing. And once again, on top of that, sunspots, even your weapons, everything is going to be able to apply Scorch. So just pretty much every kill you're getting is going to give you melee energy back, alongside also giving you that class ability energy back because of Ember of Singeing. And then on top of all of that, the fact that when you defeat a Scorched target, make a fire sprite, well, when you pick fire sprites up, you get grenade energy back. So you're refunding all your energy just by simply playing the game with this build. And you could just spam healing grenades, you can spam consecrations, and you can spam your rally barricade or towering, whichever one you want to run, just over and over again and be pretty much unkillable. But now let's jump over to our artifact, since this is going to play a very crucial part. And first off, let's take a look at Flint Striker. So rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows grant radiant. This is how you're going to become radiant with this build. It's extremely easy. Again, it's just rapid precision hits or just rapid kills. And then once you have that radiant proc with Ember of Empyrean, it will constantly refresh it over and over again, and you will just have a permanent radiant on you at all times. Radiant is going to play a very crucial part to this build, not only for the damage increase, but also because of our artifact perk Kindling Trigger. Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. So everything that I just went over about applying Scorch with things like Consecration and Sunspots, well, now your weapons can also do it, and this will also take advantage of all the fragments that we had already went over in the build. So you're going to get class ability cooldown, you're going to get melee cooldown just by getting weapon kills, on top of also making fire sprites, and it is just ridiculously strong. Again, you will have permanent uptime of this because of Ember of Empyrean and Flint Striker, and it will just keep the flow of the build going over and over again. Now, our next artifact perk is going to be Heart of the Flame. So casting your solo super grants nearby allies radiant and increases the damage of your super for each nearby ally. This is very nice because you're already going to have a bunch of super damage anyway with our exotic. So now you're going to get even more, especially in a team-based setting, and you can one-shot a ton of bosses with Burning Maul. Then next up, we have Revitalizing Blast. So causing damage with a solar ability weakens champions and bosses for a short duration. This is extremely nice because obviously applying a debuff is very, very strong, but what's really cool about the Titan, like I was saying earlier, is that with Throwing Hammer, it did get a nerf, but you can still pick it up and you have infinite throwing hammers. You don't have to wait for a very long cooldown, and this pretty much is just a infinite debuff. So you could just throw your hammer at any champion, throw your hammer at any boss, just go pick it up, and you could just have a permanent debuff in your pocket at all times. It's very nice to throw your bonk hammer, pop your Burning Maul, do the Burning Maul damage, and then do like some Consecration damage. It will just delete everything. And now for the final artifact perk, it is going to be Raise of Precision. So while Radiant Solar Precision final blows cause combatants to ignite. So this is going to be very nice because it's even more ad clear. And again, you're going to be Radiant all the time. So now just every time you get a Solar Precision kill, you're going to ignite enemies. And that is going to be very, very strong paired with our main weapon, Sunshot. Sunshot is absolutely insane this season. With it now, your Sunshot can apply Scorch. It already is going to cause those chain reaction explosions. And then if you get a precision kill with it, which is easy to do since it's a hand cannon, you will even cause an ignite. You can pretty much just get one kill with this weapon with all these other artifact perks, and it will kill literally everything in a room for you. And then on top of that, you have Radiant, which means the gun does even more damage, and you have this just absurd ad clear weapon that is feeding you all your abilities back, and it is just a ton of fun to use. Most people that are doing harder in-game content or even soloing the new dungeon are running Sunshot just for the fact that, again, you can kill one ad with all these mod setups and it just kills everything else in the room. It is very, very strong in general, but it is even better this season and it is 100% the weapon of choice I would recommend running with the solar build. Between Sunshot and your Consecration, there should be pretty much no ads on your screen ever. And on stats for this build, I would definitely recommend 100 resilience to get your damage reduction and also your class ability cooldown. But on top of that, I would recommend going into 100 strength because you really want to play into Consecration with this build to play into the exotic to make those cyclones everywhere. And then whatever other stats you have left over, I would definitely recommend just put them in discipline so you can just spam healing grenades more often whenever you need them. But all right, now let's jump over into armor mods. If you would like to see an in-depth breakdown of this build, be sure to head over to Mobalytics. I will link everything down below, and you can look at everything over there while I go over to end the video. But all right, jumping right into it. First off, I like to take a harmonic siphon. So rapid solar weapon final blows create an orb of power. Since your Sunshot is an ad clear machine, this just means now you're making orbs everywhere, which are going to further play into the build. Now next up, I like to take a heavy ammo finder. So increase the drop chance of heavy ammo on kill. This does also get benefits if you are running an exotic weapon. This paired with Sunshot, since Sunshot can again kill an entire room, you can make a ton of heavy with this. And then finally, I like to take a dynamo, so reduce the super cooldown when you're using your class ability near targets. This is why I said I like to take Rally Barricade over Towering, because I can spam it even faster since it has such a lower cooldown. I get even more super energy, but again, if you want to take Towering, you absolutely can. I just will maybe swap out Dynamo for something else. But with Rally, you get all the other benefits, and you're also getting super energy with Dynamo. It's very, very good. Now, for my gauntlets, I do like to take a harmonic loader, so it increases reload speed of your solar weapons. This is very nice because we're obviously playing into Sunshot, and then also if you're an Apex Predator, you're just going to have faster reload speeds for both of those weapons. And then impact induction, so causing damage with a power melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown, since the whole build is based around using Consecration. And then the fact that you can also just throw the mini hammer over and over again, you can just get a bunch of cooldowns with this, even more grenade energy. And then focusing strike, so grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a power melee attack. Again, just like impact induction, this is going to work the exact same way. It's just going to give you class ability energy now, which again, you want to spam all three, so this is very good. And now for your chest piece, always go with triple resistant mods. Just swap these out for whatever content you're going into. You don't really need anything else specific with this build. Now for our boots, I also recommend just taking triple solar weapon surge. You don't need any of the other mods that you already have a bunch of survivability coming from your kit as well, and all your cooldowns also are just coming from your kit. So just taking more damage for Sunshot to add clear even more, and also Apex Predator to do more damage is very, very good. Then finally, for our class item, I do like to take a proximity ward, so gaining powerful overshoot while performing your finisher. You could swap this out for anything else, like something like an outreach if you want more melee energy, but since this whole build is based around being unkillable and just being in the fray, this is nice if you need to perform a finisher, just get an overshield. But again, you can't swap this if you want something else. Next up, I like a powerful attraction, so automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. Again, another one of these mods. I like to spam my class ability a lot, so I can just pick up all the orbs around me to proc my solar weapon surges, and also grant some super energy, which is nice. So I would highly recommend taking this if you are running Rally Barricade. And then finally, time dilation, so your decay and armor charge has a longer duration. So this just means now you're going to have 45 seconds of increased solar weapon damage once you have max armor charge stacks instead of 30 seconds, and then you're going to be able to infinitely keep them up because you can just collect all the orbs around you when you pop your class ability. But that is pretty much the build. As a recap, all you're really doing is just making sure you get a bunch of kills with Sunshot, become Radiant. That pretty much is the main thing. Everything else is going to work in the background. You're going to get all your ability energy passively. You're going to make sunspots passively. The only real active thing you can do is your Consecration if you want to make a cyclone or just kill a bunch of group of enemies. On top of that, obviously if you're in a sticky situation, you can throw a healing grenade down, but like literally everything just works in the background. But you do have Burning Maul with things like Pyrogale that can do some insane super damage, but again, you can't really use that until you get your super anyway. So essentially, just get kills with Sunshot. Your artifact perks will come into play. Everything else is going to work in the background. Just make sure you're spamming your abilities over and over, and you will be good to go. But all right, that is going to do it all for me. Let me know what you all think about this build in the comments below. Obviously, these solar artifact perks are just absurdly broken this time around. It can make pretty much any solar build good, but this is the one I've been having the most fun on for my Titan. I know Precious Scars also got a change, and that's pretty good with solar, and if you want to see a build revolved around that, I can make that. But for me personally, with the restoration that you're already getting, I think taking something like Pyrogale for even more super damage is nice, and then if you play into Consecration, it is a ton of fun. This is definitely a build I would recommend you all try, and if it's something you want to put together, I wish you all the best of luck getting gear. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.